And I'd like to invite Cathi Daly to come forward to share the family witness.
That song was good. My sister used to say that my mother would walk around the house singing that song. Oh. Good morning. Thank you all so much for being here today to celebrate the life of my mom, Pat Kay. Each one of you meant something special to her. I'm Pat's daughter, Cathi, the mischievous one. I was going to wear black today, but thought Mom would want to celebrate with some color, because colorful she was. As everyone here can attest, to meet Mom was to know instantly what a friendly and sociable personality she had. You knew you were with down-home good people because she would call you sugar, offer you a piece of her famous homemade banana pudding, and introduce you to any of the kinfolk that had dropped in. She was a true steel magnolia. When you visited, you got the monkey room or the mermaid room. You got to feed the pet heron a hot dog, and then you were given a mullet wrapper, the local community magazine, to see what activities you were going to take her to do. You won't find hospitality like that at the Holiday Inn. She was fun to be around. Her bright smile and southern voice would light up the room. Mom had a great ability to connect to people, and it didn't matter your status in life, you were still considered a cherished visitor to have a meal, conversation on the back porch, or a joy ride around Pensacola to some of her favorite places. Once you met Pat, you were no longer a stranger, and newcomers became old-timers. She was always sad to see you go, but welcomed you back anytime. She taught me the value of a good get-together and having friends and family around. I know she's looking down right now and thinking, this is a good one. My mom was the classic ferocious redhead. She had a fire in her spirit that made her more driven and determined than anyone I know. Some people say this is being stubborn, but that drive and determination guided my sister and I through hardship, difficulty, joy, and achievement. Mom never forgot, or at least she wasn't going to let you forget that she never forgot. She was independent and competitive. She had a passion for sports, especially fishing, tennis, softball, and dancing, and she loved to win. You never lost an argument to Mom. She was going to win. She even kept all her old calendars to prove that you got that date or event wrong. That was her competitive spirit. I am blessed that Maverick DNA was a part of me. It taught me to be unafraid, independent, and occupy my time wisely. A bold, wild, headstrong personality was created in me from the day I was born and through her example. Many people say I'm one of the most creative people they know. A lot of that came from my father, it's true, but there was a very important part that came from my mother. She allowed me to be free. I was able to pursue my passions, no matter what they were. When other kids were scolded for writing on the walls, my mother let me draw murals or album covers or blacklight poster designs on the sheetrock of our house walls. I went on to paint several murals on the walls of the houses that I lived in. That ability to express myself freely is something I'm forever grateful for. Her love of me remains steady and enduring no matter my faults, my bad decisions, my attention deficit disorder, or my rebellion. Every time I said, Mom, even if it was said in anger or frustration, I knew how much she loved me. That's when the old cow moo would appear. She'd say, bet I can make you laugh. Then she would stick out her tongue and roll it across her lips while mooing like a cow, kind of like, no. To see her do it, you couldn't help but laugh, and it always got my sister and I out of whatever bad mood we were in. When I reminisce about my childhood, surviving my teenage years, and actually all of my years, is a testament to Mom's endless resolve to keep me alive. She stuck by me. She was my anchor in a sea of turmoil. My mom really had her hands full with me, and I don't see how she managed to raise me. She could tell I was going to be trouble when by 3 years old, I ate a whole bottle of Bear baby aspirin, thinking it was candy. At 4, I walked home from nursery school by myself and tried to cross a 4-lane highway. At 5, a motorcycle fell over on me and the engine burned the whole side of my leg. She would just fix me up with some homespun remedy and go back to work the next day. We never went to the doctor. At 8, I lost her engagement ring in a barrel of wet cement. I got covered in tar. I shot a pin gun firearm off in my face, and I used Dawn in the dishwasher, literally filling the kitchen with 5 feet of suds. I remember us laughing so hard as we tried to sweep it all out the back door. Despite all my mishaps, she still had the courage to enroll me and sometimes sit through ballet classes, brownies, Girl Scouts, gymnastics, and cheerleading with me. She really did a lot for me, even with a tight budget. In the 70s, ID bracelets were popular. For my 16th birthday, she gave me this silver one engraved with her nickname for me, Hot Rod. ID, as in identification. She had several nicknames for me: Cat, Crab, CJ, Siege, and when I was in trouble, Cathalina. I guess she figured if something was going to happen to me, my identification would surely reveal that I was the daughter of the fiery redhead with the candy apple red Camaro. At my high school graduation, she rushed to get there from work. By the time she got there, she had to park a mile away. She walked all the way to the stadium in her work high heels. I remember her showing me her bloody feet after I had tossed my grad hat into the air. Those of you that know me would be surprised and proud that I didn't avail myself of my inappropriate laughter at the tragedy of it. She was there for me in all my significant moments. That's what mattered. Mom absolutely loved classic old movies. She impressed that love of them upon me at an early age. I had the pleasure about 2 years ago to spend an entire weekend with my mom, just the two of us. We talked for 2 days about old movies and the actors and actresses of the day. It was truly a great love we shared and a very special weekend. She tried to keep up with today's movie stars by reading every People magazine, Inquirer, or raunchy tabloid that was available, but she said she didn't know any of them now. Mom also loved soundtrack records from movies. Some of her favorites, which through the years of listening to them became my favorites too, were Dr. Zhivago, Finian's Rainbow, Scheherazade, Goldfinger, The Way We Were, and The Graduate. She was also a huge fan of Neil Diamond, Queen, Yanni, disco music, and more recently, Adele. Some of the other things Pat liked in life were the Lord Jesus and her church here in Perdido Key. She had a sweet tooth for those sugar-coated orange slice candies, Divinity, Marshmallow Peeps, and key lime pie. She loved the ghost reality shows and Judge Judy. She loved to sew and embroider. All through elementary school, she made my dresses, and now, whenever I look back at my old class photos, I am so proud that my mom made those for me. Mom loved to be modern, but she also loved antique and thrift store shopping. She loved animals more than anything in this world, especially birds and dogs, namely beagles. She loved the ocean, the water, gardening, plants, wind chimes, Mardi Gras masks, mermaids, and especially true crime books by Anne Rule. She read all 30 of them. She loved to ruminate about stories from her past. It didn't matter if you were a newcomer, you were going to hear all about growing up with 5 siblings, a Navy dad, and her mother in 1950s Pensacola. These last 3 years of Mom's life were some of her, Jean's, and the family's most challenging. To Jean, I want to thank you for the life you were able to let our mom keep for a while longer. You stepped up and you took care of her when she needed support, or a hot dog, or a corn dog, or any food whim she had. And you gave assistance that allowed her to retain her dignity and privacy. Life has thrown you one personal challenge after another, and yet you endured through everything, all while still loving our mother. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, Jean, for everything you've done. And to my sister, the well-behaved one, I thank you so much. You've been there as coordinator, chauffeur, nurse, a source of medical knowledge, and an ear to lean on for Mom, Jean, and myself. Living at a distance has not been easy to hear about all the frustrating circumstances that you finagled with medications, specialists, records, appointments, and Mom's attempts at miracle Chinese as seen on TV pills. I thank you also for all you did to comfort, advise, console, and try to educate Mom and Jean with your medical training, knowledge, and love. I thank Pastor Gardner and Pastor Hahn and all the Perdido Bay Methodist Church staff for honoring my mom with this beautiful service. I also thank Sacred Heart staff and nurses, Comfort Care Hospice, and Family Funeral for all their kindness and support. And most of all, I thank all of you for the many things you have done to help and support my mom in any way you did. There are too many to name here, but know that our family did not forget the many times you have shown how much you cared. Several family members joined Jean, my sister, and I at the hospital in the days leading up to Mom's passing. Some of those were by FaceTime and Zoom. We sat around her bed and talked and listened as different people came and went. In true Mom fashion, her vanity prevailed until the end, as she told us she had saved out one bottle of hair dye for her funeral. She had forgotten she wanted to be cremated. They would not allow real flowers to be brought into the ICU, but someone cleverly thought to make wooden flowers so we could bring them in. Those wooden pink flowers are on display in the reception room here today. At times, I know for sure that Mom was aware and ready to make her journey to heaven. She commented at one point, "I've lived a good long life." I remember her telling her grandsons, "Don't forget me." And I remember her telling those in the room not to forget about Jean. She was surrounded by family and love in her last days up until the end. To me, that is the most important thing. Although my mother is no longer with us in this life, I know that she lives on in the memories that I have of her and the love and support that she gave me throughout my life. Mom, I miss you so much. I thank you for every gift, every lesson, and every moment you gave me. And unbelievably, there are 60 years of them to draw on. I love you, Sugar, and I carry you with me always.
Hello. Thank you guys for being here. I'm Zach. I'm one of the grandkids. When I think of my grandmother, Pat, a few distinct words come to my mind: home, laughter, water, and sugar. I know these may not sound like words that describe her, but let me explain. Home. No matter who you were or your relationship with Pat, she always made you feel like you were at home when you were around her. The hospitality demonstrated was bar none. Whether it was always offering comfort food, a bed to sleep in, or just time spent with her, you felt a warm and genuine invitation. She always made it feel like her home was my home as well. As I got older, with my professional job, always traveling and having a family living in Atlanta, I didn't get to visit as much as I would have liked. But when I did, it was like nothing has changed. It was just the same as when I visited as a kid. Laughter. She always had a story to tell, and usually it was a pretty funny one. My mother can attest some of the hardest laughs we've had have come from the endless and animated stories she told. I will always remember the way she told them with such detail and comedic relief. In this way, this is just one reason why her and Jean are a match made in heaven. Water. Much of Pat's life has been spent around water. She even has a boat named after her, Patsy. A lot of my memories of time spent with her were around bodies of water. The memories of tying rafts together on the dock and spending hours just floating in the bay and enjoying family members' company will stay with me forever. The days of when I was a child and her and Jean lived on a lake in Waterton, fishing off that dock. And of course, the late nights trout fishing off the dock here. The way the fireworks shined off the intercoastal water during our 4th of July gatherings. All the time spent sitting on the porch just watching the boats go by. She was always the first to wave at the passing boats. She was also the first to blow an air horn if they were going too fast, creating wake. I will always associate the soft white sands of the Gulf and warm, clear waters with time spent with her and family members down here. Last but not least, sugar. She had a thing for calling people sugar. If you've been around her, she no doubtedly has called you that once or twice. I don't believe that this is just a random coincidence on why she chose this name. Sugar in a literal sense is used to enhance. And I believe she thought the more sugar she had, the more joy it was an enhancement to her life. Sugar makes everyone happy, and I think she just wanted to be surrounded by constant happiness. You knew she really meant it when you got a shuggie instead of a sugar. In reality, she was the sugar that we all needed. I know she's looking down on all of us, and she's in a better place. I know that one day when I will see her again, and we'll just sit and rock and enjoy the view of the water and have some good laughs. Until then, it's not a goodbye. It's a see you later, sugar. May she rest in peace. Thank you.